It is past midnight. You are staring at the disassembled parts of a kitchen appliance spread across your floor. Your hands are tired, your back aches. A quiet, rational voice whispers the obvious. You could have just bought a new one. You could have called a professional. You could have paid someone else to make the problem disappear hours ago. But you didn't. And if you are entirely honest with yourself, you never really intended to. To the outside observer, this relentless drive to do everything yourself looks like a quirk. People assume you're being thrifty, thinking it is a stubborn desire to save money.
Or they might view it as the harmless enthusiasm of a hobbyist.
But when you are the one kneeling on the floor at 2 in the morning, you know the truth. It is not really about the money. That surface explanation is terribly incomplete. What looks like a simple preference for manual labor is often a deeply ingrained psychological adaptation. It is a complex negotiation with control. It is a matter of trust. Above all, it is a fundamental need to prove to yourself that you are capable of surviving the world. At its core, the compulsion to do it yourself often stems from a profound craving for autonomy. Bosses, algorithms, and market fluctuations dictate your schedule. The unpredictable moods of other people shape your environment. The space where you create, however, becomes a sanctuary of absolute self-determination. You are the one measuring the wood. You are the one mixing the paint. Therefore, you are the undisputed author of the outcome. Self-determination theory suggests a clear reason for this. Fulfilling this innate need for autonomy, alongside the need for competence, drives our deepest intrinsic motivations. It also fosters our overall well-being. You are not just building a shelf. You are building a controlled environment.
You are creating a micro-world where your choices genuinely matter.
The rules of physics and effort apply consistently here.
In this space, you are temporarily free from the unpredictable demands of society.
This need for a predictable reality is closely tied to how you view your own agency. Many people who compulsively DIY possess what psychologists call an internal locus of control. You operate on a deeply held belief. You believe the outcomes in your life are the direct result of your own actions. You do not credit luck, fate, or the whims of powerful others.
An internal locus of control is heavily linked to greater confidence.
It also correlates with better mental health. You hold a wrench, a paintbrush, or a soldering iron. In doing so, you manifest that internal belief into physical reality. If you make a mistake, it is your mistake to fix. If the project succeeds, the victory is entirely yours. Taking on these projects systematically builds a profound sense of self-efficacy. This is the quiet, unshakable belief in your own ability to perform actions and exercise control over events. You are quite literally building a stronger psychological immune system. But not everybody does it because they want to. Some learn through early life experiences that people are inherently unreliable. For them, do-it-yourself isn't about having fun or being self-reliant. It's about survival. Their refusal to outsource is not merely about competence. It is a protective measure. It acts as a defense mechanism born from a quiet distrust of the world. If you do it yourself, you cannot be overcharged. You cannot be misled.
Most importantly, you cannot be let down. Relying on others requires deep vulnerability.
It requires handing over control. It requires trusting that a stranger will care about your space or your time as much as you do.
Perhaps you have learned the same lesson through repeated disappointments. Yet, there is magic in the physical act of making.
You eventually stop fighting the material. You begin to work in harmony with it. When this happens, something shifts in your nervous system. The low-grade hum of daily anxiety begins to fade away. It is replaced by a hyper-focused state. Action and awareness merge seamlessly. You entirely lose track of time. The experience becomes intrinsically rewarding. Psychologists call this the flow state. It is a condition of complete absorption, where the challenge before you perfectly matches your skill level.
In this state, the relentless noise of mental rumination is finally silenced.
It is no wonder clinical research shows the benefits of engaging in craft-based interventions.
Activities like pottery, embroidery, clay therapy, or scrapbooking can significantly reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. They also improve self-esteem and social functioning. The repetitive, tactile reality of the work pulls you forward.
It forces you out of the abstract terrors of your mind.
It places you firmly into the undeniable present tense of your own hands. It is no surprise, then, that engaging in this kind of creative work is tightly linked to our baseline happiness. Being creative actively increases our subjective well-being. At the same time, feeling happier actually makes us more creative.
This forms a beautiful, self-sustaining loop of emotional regulation.
You are not just fixing a broken chair. You are repairing your own internal state. You are metabolizing your stress. You are processing the weight of the week through the medium of wood glue and metal clamps. For some people, this is a matter of identity.
Today, a perfectly manufactured object arrives at your door with a single click. But this endless convenience comes with a subtle psychological cost. It creates a creeping sense of alienation from the material world.
You got your dozen devices and goods, yet their inner workings remain a total mystery to you. Research into the diseconomies of doing it yourself reveals a fascinating trend. For many, making things is a quiet protest against this alienation.
It is driven by an anti-market sentiment. It is a deep-seated desire to avoid generic consumer culture.
You DIY because you refuse to be reduced to a passive consumer. You recognize that the market often fails to provide true customization. It cannot supply the exact details that real self-expression demands. Why spend days knitting a sweater, especially when it might look slightly less perfect than one you could buy in a store for half the price? because the store cannot sell you your own uniqueness. The consumer's need for uniqueness is a specific psychological concept. It is defined as the pursuit of differentness through the acquisition or creation of goods. This pursuit exists to enhance personal and social identity.
You wear the sweater you made. You serve dinner on a table you built.
Through these actions, you signal to the world exactly who you are.
You want the objects in your life to be saturated with your own meaning. You want them to carry the invisible weight of the hours you traded to bring them into existence. This pursuit of identity brings us to one of the most fascinating paradoxes of the DIYer. You may spend hours in solitary concentration, yet you likely seek out others who do exactly the same. Consider the maker movement. Look at the late-night forums for coders. Think of the obscure subreddits dedicated to vintage sewing machines. These are vital, thriving communities. Social identity theory explains that we derive immense self-worth from these connections. We find belonging and meaning through our group memberships. You align yourself with other makers. In doing so, you find a tribe that validates your specific values of self-reliance and creativity. You connect with people who understand your labor. They know why you spent 40 hours restoring a rusty handplane.
They will not look at you strangely when you passionately explain the intricacies of a dovetail joint.
You find intimacy here. It does not always happen through vulnerable personal confessions. Instead, it occurs through a shared reverence for the work. But there is also immense dignity in this path. There is power in the refusal to be a passive participant in your own life. You look at the physical world. You believe that you have the power to shape it. This is an act of quiet rebellion. It takes genuine courage to look at a broken thing and decide it is not beyond repair. You trust that with enough patience and attention, you can make it whole again.
So, think of the next time you find yourself covered in sawdust.
Picture yourself staring at lines of code until your eyes blur. Imagine gently unpicking a seam you accidentally sewed backwards.
Pause for a moment. Do not judge the impulse.
Recognize the profound human architecture at play. You are doing so much more than saving a few dollars. You are doing more than learning a new skill. You are actively tracing the boundaries of your own agency. You are soothing a chaotic mind by imposing order on a small, manageable corner of the universe. You are proving your own resilience. Stitch by stitch and nail by nail, you show that you are competent enough to handle whatever happens next. The physical object you are making is ultimately secondary. The true project has always been yourself.